Love with Julie and Friends. I'm super excited to introduce you to our guest today. His name is Daniel Laudon. Daniel strives to provide healthy products for people, including breastfeeding mothers, so you can have good choices for raising your children in a healthy environment and providing supplements that are clean and free of any toxins that could, lead to any difficulties. So we're really happy to have you, Daniel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Your company is just amazing. Your website really has a wealth of information about holistic living and even canning and, natural toothbrushes. I mean, you have such a variety of things. And I just would love for you to share a little bit about your company and why you were driven to keep growing what your mom started so long ago when you were in your teenage years, bringing you down to Amish country and living a more holistic life. Share with us a little bit about your story.
Okay. Well, Nature's Warehouse, was born out of my mother's just pretty much people asking her all the years from her history of dealing with us kids, 7 kids, all home births. Instead of running to the doctor, she would work with us, and she had holistic people that she would call up and ask them, what to do, and she would use herbs and follow different procedures. Like it just she was gonna have healthy kids, and she wasn't gonna trust anybody else to have that. That was the long and short of it. So as we got older and people saw that, they asked her, how did you deal with this? And how did you deal with that? And who should I see for this? And she had names and refer people. And it led to making tinctures and selling tinctures on the back porch. She was selling herbs on the back porch. It was kind of what she started doing when us kids were all old enough that they weren't using up all her time. And it became quite a business. My brother, I was already, by the time it really took off, I was already out of the home, married, and I was in the construction world. My younger brother was working with her very closely in it, and he took the manufacturing side. So he owns a manufactured line, Spriggs, great products, all herbal tinctures and some capsules. Specifically, that line is heavily around expecting moms and infants and small children. They have some products for everybody, but that's the core. I mean, you can use their products, like their super tonic or the immune product. That can be used at any age, but it was designed mainly around expecting moms and that type of thing. So, great line. And my parents were at a point where they wanted to retire, and I was not involved in the company at all, kind of living my life, and the option came. And yeah, it's a hard company how do you sell a company that's a family passion? How do you sell a passion, my mom's passion? How do you sell that? So I was able to come in. My mom is, even though retired, is still heavily involved. Not one product in our catalog. And I appreciate the kind words you said about our website, but our real face is our catalog. 40 articles of education. We can speak on things in the catalog that are not quite so sick. We can go into depth on real issues and say fully what we believe on some things that we can't quite do online. So I really suggest people to get that catalog. That's our world.
So it's sort of reminiscent of like the Farmer's Almanac to me. If your catalog is it's like a newsletter. It's like an education. You go to conferences and you come back with the latest products to help people make better choices, or to know there's other options besides something that may have bits of plastic in it, or people don't understand, like, if they throw in a coloring or some kind of preservative that, people can react to that. And so you guys go out and
Yeah.
find the healthy things that I remember when we first were talking, you were talking about alignment. And so this company, since your mom started it, she has set an alignment. She set a standard, right? That we're going to provide things to people that are going to help them without any extras or anything that could,
Hmm.
just make someone feel less than. There's companies that respond to what's going to last longest on the shelf, what's going to be the cheapest to pump out, but that's not what you guys are about. You guys are about providing a quality product, which is was purchased or offered on an alignment with a certain standard of health. If is that a good way to put it?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, yeah. And it had to become personal for me. I when I had, I grew up that way. Like I shared with you before, the sucker story in Sunday school. If they passed out suckers to all the kids in Sunday school, I knew my mom would be expecting mine. Otherwise, I was in trouble because that's the extremeness of health. So you grow up that way. You don't possibly believe it all. You understand it all. I had to go out and eat a little Burger King and white pasta and kind of live my life a little bit. And my health started crumbling. And eventually found a holistic doctor on my own. My mom didn't fully sign up, didn't appreciate everything they had to say, but somebody from Vermont, I called them, they did blood testing on me. I started having really bad allergies. Ultimately, I made a choice that I was going to get off all these drugs that the doctors were now prescribing to me, and I was going to live in control of my health. I called up my mom, and now I'm listening. I wasn't telling her, or just like how a 17 to 22-year-old is when mom says something. It's
I call it the bobblehead effect. It's like, are you listening or are you just bobbleheading me?
yeah. I started listening.
That's part of it, right? I mean, we can give advice, but until you feel how bad you feel when you're making good choices and you're having this environment, you're just treating yourself as this divine being, and then if you introduce a contaminant, whether it's artificial color or excess sugars, I mean, there's so many things. And
You know,
if you are sitting back and feeling how it makes you feel, then you're realizing that isn't nourishment. In my book, I talk about, is it a positive, a negative, or a neutral food? And your body, your intuition will tell you. And like that lollipop, people, oh, it's just a lollipop. They give them out at the bank, they give them out at Sunday school, but those lollipops are full of artificial colors and sugars that aren't healthy, and it just takes a few people to say, hey, let's try to do better. I remember when my kids were in school, the big thing was birthday cupcakes. And these teachers are all, they're all tired and they're all struggling to keep their energy up. But then there's this encouragement to bring birthday cupcakes, and moms are too busy to make homemade cupcakes. So they're going to the grocery store and they're getting the cupcakes that have more frosting than cake. And it's just like the super colors, and there's kids that are really sensitive to that, and then you get behavior problems, and then everyone gets a sugar crash, or they give it to them right before they get on the bus, and the poor bus drivers have to deal with this. And I remember it was a real struggle when I had my kids going to public school for the time that they went. um, I was the one saying, hey, don't don't accept the Smarties. Those don't make you smarter. You know what I mean? Like, we had to have those difficult conversations. Or one time I just let my son eat the whole bag of,
right,
oh, what was it?
right.
Those Sour Patch Kids. And he lost his mind. He lost his mind. And I was like, okay, do you understand what you did before you lost your mind? And he's like, I ate a bag of Sour Patch Kids. And I'm like, that's that's what it is, and all we can do is try to teach our kids that there's cause and effect, and like you said, the ownership of your health. Don't ask for someone else to tell you what's good for you. Figure it out on your own. And that empowerment is something that you can't put a price tag on. That you just can't. Oh my goodness. So your newsletter, the catalog, I'm going to call it a newsletter, the catalog.
We have all. Let's see. So there's 40 articles. 3 come from a midwife. 2 come from I think she's a home health. She's got a degree in home health or family health. That's what it's, family health. And then we pull articles. There's like 10 articles from our vendors about products that they're either coming onto the market or we don't have. We feel like there should be more proper information about these products out there. We have a couple scare articles that usually written by somebody about like cancer or GMOs or then we even have we've always the vaccine issue. We've always had articles on vaccine.
Who writes the articles for that?
My mom and a team of 3 read every article, discuss every article. I'm sitting on the discussions and I make the final calls now that I'm responsible for the company. But I still rely a lot on my mom because she she understands it, and I want to pass because she won't always be able to do it. So that's why I've got a team that I'm building around her so that they understand her values. And also, I watch her with the team. Sometimes she's starting to pay attention to, so she'll be like, "What's your opinion on this?" Like she maybe doesn't fully understand something new that just came out of the market. And she's like, she's learning to trust them a little bit. So it's really, really cool. And the people, there's a lot of value if you want to understand health and be responsible for your own health. Our catalog is definitely going to give you a lot of ammo to do that. And if you want to go further, I can connect you with the people that are writing a lot of the articles. You'll find out you're pregnant. Sandra Ellis, Dr. Mom, she's got 3 books out there. She's on my speed dial. She wrote, she taught at the School of Natural Healing. She's there if you're in a stick. So, and we passed a lot of people through. But if you need I have 22 girls also in a call center to answer more normal questions we get all the time, like how do I get more breast milk, or should I take a prenatal if I'm not pregnant yet and want to get pregnant? I'm past childbearing years. Should I still take a hormonal or my husband's testosterone seems to be dropping. Does he need to take testosterone? We've got all that information there too.
Wow. It just sounds like you guys have built a community of resource and just knowledge. And I'm sure your mom is so happy that the company wasn't sold, that she's still so integral in the day to day and the power of information and like you said, the call center, you guys are caring. It's not about producing a quality and a service for people who are looking for something better, an alternative to something that isn't working for them anymore. Or even, I mean, I noticed you guys had a lot of bulk products that don't involve all the excess packaging. Sometimes you go to the store and you buy a box of, let's just say a box of rice, and half the box is empty, and then there's a plastic bag in there, and it's just like the excess waste. It's got to go somewhere, right? We can't recycle everything, and we're finding more and more about how our packaging isn't all that environmentally friendly. So you guys are forerunners in that, in the respect that you're offering more bulk type items. And then it seems like you're connected closely with Amish country, and you get some products from the Amish. Is that accurate?
Most of our bulk items, the bulk flowers and everything, are coming from a small Amish mill. No, he has no electricity. I don't believe in there. If it is, it's very little, and it's all ran off a pulley, and it's quite an operation. I call him Whenever I see him, he's a witty scientist because he's in there with his little white hat and white coat, but he's just grinding and popping spelt and he sprouted this, sprouted that, and yeah, a lot of our products, we have a very strong customer base amongst the plain folks because they don't have health. Some of them do have a type of health insurance, but they are not tied in to that. They're already thinking before they go to the doctor because they're probably going to have to pay for a good bit of their doctor's bills out of their pocket. And when you got 13 kids, doctor bills can add up. People run to the doctor nowadays. And the medical field is set up that way where people run to call the doctor and ask the doctor if they should come to the doctor. And we just went through, the pandemic, and we saw a lot of things happen that a lot of people have a lot of different ideas about. But ultimately, it all makes sense when you look at how the health world has been set up, where we don't take responsibility for our own health as much anymore. We trust the doctor. We look to the doctors, the medical world, the scientists, the science. If the science would step away from real science, would we know it? And the same thing goes for food. The food is become so money. It's all money, all about money, and not about health, not about nourishing. And it's the small producers that are connected to the soil. They are the ones that are really caring. I guess that's the best way to put it. And if you can connect with somebody like that, that's where you're going to source real food, real health, which we believe is real health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So you're commenting about the commercialization and the medicine. That's where it started, but it seems like the commercialization of our food is like what's happening now, because everyone's really awake to the pharmaceutical, the narrative that has been, whether it's because people didn't have the time to really research any homeopathic, or they weren't interested, or they felt like taking a pill is easier than changing your diet, or meditating, decreasing your stress. They've found that meditating is better for blood pressure than taking a pill, but not all people are open to that. They might feel like they would just rather give up that consent. It's your empowerment to deal with your health. Either you're going to look for something natural, or you're going to say, well, I just want someone to fix me. And so if you feel like you're broken and you need someone else to fix you, then that's your choice. But there are other choices that you don't have to come in as a broken individual. You can come in as an empowered. And that's what I think you're saying about the plain people. Are the plain people the Amish people? Is that?
A lot of them are Amish. I call them plain because they're such a mixture of like Mennonites, Amish,
Okay.
but they all are plainer, have bigger families. Some have cars, some don't have cars. But yeah, they're not all just Amish. Probably 50-50 maybe, Amish and Mennonites.
Okay. So it's people who are choosing to live more of a holistic lifestyle, or a simpler, like you said,
Simpler
the
lifestyle.
man who
Yep.
he doesn't have electric in his, he grinds using a pulley. Is that like a horse driven or a mule driven pulley? I'm just curious.
That actually would be off of a diesel engine. So it does
Okay,
use.
so he runs
Yeah.
the diesel and pulls it. Okay, yeah, I was just curious. So
Yeah.
so what you're encouraging people is to maybe find a co-op, or a farmer's market, and then what are certain things to ask? Because I know that a lot of people go to a farmer's market and say, oh, I'm just looking for organic, but you had some really good tips about what to ask the farmer who you buy food from. Can you go over those? I think it was 3 tips you had.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I can go on this for an hour, so I'm really trying to condense it here. But
No
the
worries.
best, if you want to, I'd like to tell a quick story in the beginning. A lot of people don't realize, but this is how our world of health and food is connected, because the big producers understand this. It's us that don't understand it. They understand it. Coca-Cola owns Bayer, the medication for heart. Did you know that or no?
No, I did not know that.
Okay. So the consideration of the sales of Bayer is brought into the pricing on Coca-Cola, because they know the percentage of Coke that somebody drinks, the sooner they'll they'll have heart issues and be on the once a day Bayer pill, which did get kind of during COVID. That was a great example before COVID. Now during COVID, because of all the heart issues and stuff that was going on with everything, they kind of started pushing back. But up till that time, they had the math done. Like it was right there, all owned by huge corporations that understand that how the people eat, they'll get their money back in the medical. They just have to have their fingers in both. Okay, so food is the source of health. It can be your first defense to health. And you know, we can talk for hours in GMOs, sprays, chemicals, hormones. I remember as a kid when the cows, I was working on a farm when the kids, we started shooting every cow once a week with hormones so they'd give more milk. And I thought, geez, how's this going to affect in 20 years? Well, now we see all sorts of hormone issues going on. I've been living in this for so long. So the steps: grow your own food, have your own little farm. That's the number one, obviously, but not everybody can do it. I can't even do that because we live real lives nowadays, families, jobs, all the things. You can't have 10 acres and live in the middle of nowhere. So there are people around you. If you live in the city, in the suburbs, I live in Canton, Ohio, which is fairly good, but I'm right below Cleveland, right above Columbus. For everybody with an hour's drive in these areas, you can connect with a small farm that's doing what you wish you could do, right? But they may not be carrying the values you do because they have to grow what the consumer will buy. Find somebody, a small farmer, make sure your concerns align, your values align. Ask them, do you use GMO seeds? And then everybody, you'd be shocked. Almost all of us say, oh, no, I don't think so. Where do you get your seeds? There's not that many places that sell non-GMO seeds. So it's easy to know. If they don't know where they get their seeds, they probably are using GMO seeds, unfortunately. And sprays. And some farmers will say, hey, listen, I do use some sprays, but I don't spray directly on the product, on the crops, and stuff like that. You can tell quickly if you're actually talking to the producer whether your concerns align. And sometimes if they know you care, they'll be more cautious too. If nobody seems to care, why grow in ways that'll cost you twice as much money? It costs a lot more to produce organic products, and even if they're not certified organic, that's okay. But do they align with the principles of an organic lifestyle? And then ultimately, the third is so one thing to mention with that. A lot of times, small producers will have seasonal harvest, or when they butcher cows or something like that, they're only going to have. So you're going to have to learn how to preserve if you want to use those products and make them last for the year. You might have to get a freezer. You might have to learn how to can, and But what you're doing is you're owning your food, which ultimately is your health. Third is connecting with a larger producer that would hopefully align with your principles. And this takes work too. It all takes work. Health takes work. Owning your health takes work. You're going to have to study and learn. And like Nature's Warehouse, we have some strong principles, and we're doing a better job every day of laying those principles out and helping our customers know who they are. And then our customers' voice helps direct our principles sometimes too. Like I did, started getting emails about a vendor, a wholesaler that we were selling their products, and some people had concerns about something that they were pushing on their social media. I had no idea, and suddenly I'm like, huh? So I go on, check it. Sure enough, probably went in line with our principles. We thanked them, we make a big deal, but we eased away from that, from promoting that manufacturer, and organics, non-GMO, packaging. What are your principles? Make those clear to you. You're not going to find somebody that 100% aligns with everything you believe, right? But you can just go on Amazon and buy everything. You don't have to think about it. Or you can support somebody that's working to change and make it better. How's
Mm-hmm.
that?
That's to me, that is that's what's going to save us is because it's when you put your money in a company that you believe in. I mean, I'm not going to say the company, but there's a big company, and they pulled a certain man's products off of their shelves. And I don't want to get political, but I found out that they pulled this man's products just because of his political views. This big nationwide company, and I said, well, I'm just not going to shop there anymore. I was a loyal shopper there, and I wrote an email to the company. And do you even think I heard back?
Yeah.
They never responded. And honestly, I mean, I'll tell you, Daniel, I probably spent $700 a week at that grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't hear one thing back. And you know what? I shop. It's pushed me to go to other places and to buy from farmers, and it's like you taking a stand. Like, I don't like the way you package things. This is terrible for the environment. I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to support you. But we think that things need to be like governmentally controlled so that it can be fair or whatever. But to me, it's that personal choice of moving your attention, moving your resources to somebody who aligns with what you have. Like, we're all making less money, but for sure not going to give my money to somebody who wants to squeeze out somebody because they have a political view, or they want to stand up to some narrative they don't agree with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we that's the power of capitalism in my view, is that we have a choice. We can direct our funds, and it's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but eventually, as people move their resources to more local. I mean, I do think that's the future. It's local. When you eat out at a restaurant that has farm to table, your taste buds taste the difference. That food was produced with care. That restaurant owner reached out locally instead of just calling a 1-800 number to get Cisco delivered. And nothing against Cisco, we need supply chains and everything, but if you take the easy way out, your food might not taste as good as somebody who researched and got to know the farmer. And it's really cool to see this happen, because it used to be a farm to table restaurant was one in every city, and now when I travel, I'm seeing more and more, and I'll seek out those kind of restaurants. And so I just love that your company is aligned with this, and your mom had this mission. I don't want to guess how old you are, but it seems like maybe 30 years ago she had a mission,
Probably 50 years ago.
But
I'm not 50, but like before I was, and yeah, yeah, it's been a lifestyle. I want to add one
yeah.
thing to what you're saying. I like to simplify things. We're
Hmm.
coming out of a generation that whoever made the most money wins. That's kind of like how our parents, like, maybe not your parents or grandparents, like, people came out of the depression. They were fighting to make money. That was the answer to get out of your problems. I propose,
Hmm.
as we go into this next time where we see a lot of unusual things happening with the world and the government, I propose that whoever's best connected, closest connected to their food source, wins. That's
I know. I just feel like people want to live a magical life, and you can't buy joy, magic, or connection strictly with money or materialism. So you have to figure out what lights you up. and
Mhm.
maybe it is a fancy sports car and that's your thing, but a lot of people just like to hang out and watch their dogs play, like
Mhm.
a lot of
Yeah.
people just like to listen to great music under the stars. I mean, you
Mhm.
just find your passion, and it doesn't have to be tied to a trust fund or the most miserable people might have the most money, but do they have the most resources? So I do appreciate about what you're saying about being connected to resource and health, and you know we're here for this short time, we might as well just feel good. So I love your message, and I hope my listeners can check out your website and sign up for that catalog. I mean, it sounds like it's just like a gem of information, and you have super house authors contributing to that.
Mhm.
So I mean, what a great way. It's like a pamphlet of health. So I just love that. So I will put a link to your website in the show notes, and
Perfect.
anyone can click and follow you, Daniel. And I do appreciate you coming on today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. Yeah, it's right on the website. Go to the website. There's a link right there to get the catalog, and there's a blog on there. I put softer articles on the blog. So
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. Well, definitely the people who get your catalog can have talking points, and it's just all about curiosity, and take what serves you and leave what doesn't. But I think it's just we need to keep questioning. We need to keep listening to our
So
bodies and following our intuition.
100%. Everything you just said right there, those three steps there, just the core of what
Mm.
drive me every day. Yep. Yep.
Mm. And your mom must be so proud.
Mhm. She's well, there's seven of us, so I get a little bit of attention.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Well, thanks again, Daniel, and look forward to connecting with you again really soon. Take
Thank
care.
you for your time and thank you for your work. Have a good day.
Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to the next episode. As always, you can reach me at www.youneedapeptalk.com, and enjoy each day, as each moment is a chance to live the life of your dreams. Take care.